Hello there, you're watching The Nation with me, Jessy Chahal. It is, of course, at the beginning of the week, and as we kickstart new beginnings, here's our topic for today. We talk about the ePEMULA program, and this is one of the initiatives that's just been announced under Budget 2022. And the ePEMULA initiative or program aims to lighten the burden on youth expenses, so centered and focused on youth spending behavior. It also encourages cashless spending by the youth and to also increase the adoption of cashless transactions by brick and mortar businesses. Now, this program is expected to benefit approximately 2 million eligible Malaysians with an allocation of 300 million ringgit, a big budget there as well. And with this program, each recipient is eligible to claim an e-wallet credit of 150 ringgit. The program has started, in fact, earlier this month on the 11th of April and continues to go on till the 1st of June 2022. And that credit can also be then spent up till the 10th of June this year. Now, the government say that they're committed to a total of 300 million ringgit for this program. And of course, it can be used to make all sorts of purchases, in-store cashless purchases of electronic devices, books, food, and other everyday necessities. Well, for our conversation today, it is necessary to bring in Encik Muhammad Herman Sarbini, Head of Backend Operation and ePEMULA Project Lead of the Touch and Go e-wallet. Encik Herman, welcome to the program. Of course, it's good to speak to you, and we're excited as we embark on this new journey with ePEMULA. It really sets the tone for e-wallet and e-spending behavior in the country, of course. Do tell us a little bit about this initiative and Touch and Go's role in its e-wallet presence here and how it's reaching out to consumers.
Okay, first of all, good afternoon and thank you for having us today, Jessy. So essentially, the ePEMULA is a government initiative under the budget of 2022 by the Ministry of Finance, where the governments provide 150 ringgit of e-wallet credit through the participating wallets. So on high level, the broad objective of the program itself are to ease the burden of the youth expenses, increase the adoption of cashless transaction, and at the same time support brick and mortar businesses in their recovery from the pandemic itself. So as you rightly mentioned earlier, the claim started on 11th of April, and it can be, or the end of the program will be on the 1st of June itself. So any of the credit or successful payment, the credit or other benefit can be used until 10th of June itself. So in terms of the eligibility and who can claim for this program, essentially is a Malaysian citizen, those aged between 18 to 20 years old as of 2022, which is this year. So essentially those that born at 2002 and 2004 would be able to apply for this incentive. So at the
I'm
same time,
smiling because unfortunately it doesn't apply to those in my age category. But nonetheless, I think this is also sort of an indication of the interest in e-wallets and the technology behind it and consumer behavior as well. What are some of the numbers that you are seeing in terms of adoption since the ePEMULA program was initiated?
so since of the ePEMULA program itself, I would like and happy to say, as compared to the previous initiative, for this ePEMULA, we see a significant increase in terms of the application itself. Where on the day one itself, we are already about 70 to 75% in terms of application rate coming from this youth segment and also the student segment itself.
So this segment, of course, it's really interesting, I'm sure, for you as a service provider as well. Where exactly can they spend this 150 ringgit? Where are sort of the interest areas that you think are piquing their interest in terms of empowering them with the e-wallet?
So basically, for this ePEMULA itself, so we know that it going to benefited about 2 million Malaysian in terms of the credit itself. The ePEMULA credit can be used for offline purchases. Essentially, we are the largest network in terms of physical and retail merchant, whereby the youth and the student may use the claim credit at the bookstores for their study needs. They also can use it for nasi lemak to fix their morning breakfast fix.
Very
Um,
essential if you're studying as well. You need your nasi lemak fix, right?
Definitely, definitely. You need teh tarik, you need roti canai at the mama. At the same time,
Yes.
you can use that also to purchase any outfits at Uniqlo or any McDonald's.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about. When I mean, I'm a user of the app as well, and it has really enabled me, empowered me so much. I can almost leave my house and not have a 1 ringgit in my wallet, but
Mhm.
with having the app, it is sufficient really. What is this saying about consumer behavior, especially the youth segment? The app really offers the whole length and breadth of many merchants. You can even use it at the pasar malam. It's so convenient in my personal opinion. How do you think the app fares with youth, and are you going to open more sort of merchants as well to reach out to this youth segment?
Yeah, obviously, that would be our whole goal, and that would be aligned with the government initiative to make sure that the cashless and also more and more literate in terms of using the e-wallet itself. So basically, what we are looking at is actually expanding the usage of the e-wallet. So that is number one, and number two is that we are also expanding in terms of not just the users but also to our merchant. So in fact, what we can see from this ePEMULA itself is increase in terms of the merchant sign up. So a lot more and more merchants, be it from a pub and man shop, be it from the normal what do you call it, kedai runcit, they all sign up during this period of program so that they can benefit from the program itself indirectly.
So what this does is actually sort of twofold, because it also empowers the merchants or retailers to reach out to the youth segment or target market, which sometimes can prove a little bit difficult, or can provide some obstacles if they themselves are not enabled on a technology platform. Which sectors do you say stand to gain the most from offerings through e-wallet?
Yeah, so definitely it's going to be a two-way benefits. One is from the user, which is the use segment itself. Then secondly would be the retailers and also the merchant. So as you know, Touch and Go e-wallet support not only cashless transaction from the user. So we also during this time we encourage the merchant out there to sign up as our partners to enjoy seamless payment with seamless transaction and also grow their business with us, riding on our huge 17 million registered users. On top of that, having 1.2 million in terms of merchants touch point, with Do It Now QR acceptance, we also encourage that SME and also MSME to sign up as a merchant with our simple registration process within our e-wallet itself called Merchant Dashboard. So since the credit for ePEMULA itself is only meant for physical spending, this help actually the brick and mortar retailer who are badly affected by the pandemic, such as the warung, the street stall, and even the home businesses.
Right. I mean, this really gives meaning to simplifying services and reach. But we talk about that, and obviously it does reach people within cities. But at this point, there has been some sort of highlights, that that those in rural areas maybe may not have access, especially for an app like e-wallet as well. Where would they use it there? So, just how extensive is this availability of the Touch and Go e-wallet in terms of touch points nationwide, with focus especially in rural areas?
Right. For nationwide coverage, Touch and Go, as I mentioned earlier, we have over 1.2 million merchant touch point, and those are including those with Do It Now QR acceptance. So basically, Do It Now is QR code which can be used with any wallet with only one QR code itself. So basically, you can find us at almost every corner, including in East Malaysia itself. So we are also now aggressively started our penetration into kampongs and also pekan, extending our coverage. we are obviously in the big city as well. We know that in the area that you pay for your, again, morning nasi lemak, for your chakoi, and some of the kedai runcit, most of the kedai runcit, we are already there. So in terms of e-wallet, so we know that Touch and Go is actually made for the Malaysian, and we will ensure that they are digital literate and not just spend, but also know how in terms of using the app. So basically, as I mentioned, the team is right now aggressively going on the ground to educate both the users and also the merchants. So basically, we speak to them. You can find our QR code in the most rural area within Malaysia.
That's right. This really does take us to the start point of being a cashless society. There's been a lot of talk about that. There's also a target year that's been set, and that's not too long away from now. Let's talk a little bit about the usage and uptake of e-wallet. That has increased, in fact, in the past 2 years to over 131%, 600 million transactions just in 2022, in 2020, mind me, compared to the year before. And this, of course, are some stats that I'm getting from a PayNet 2022 report. And it says that the percentage of Malaysians who use cash payments has dropped 11% to 78%. So these numbers are quite interesting, and I'm sure those of you at Touch and Go are quite excited about the uptake of e-wallet and sort of the change in spending behavior in the past 2 years.
Yeah, sure. So rightly you point out there the number from PayNet, and as a whole, what we can see is about 60 to 70% of our Malaysian already on digital payment literacy. So, and it's growing. That number is also further validated by Bank Negara recent report, which indicate that the e-wallet transaction increased by more than 70% in 2021 compared to 2020. So coincidentally, and also this COVID happened and proved that the cashless is the safest way to go, safe and convenient for the both users and also the merchant. As our Malaysian recovered during the pandemic, we are aligned with the government approach not to only revive Malaysian economy via the cashless digitalization, but also ensuring the next generation of Malaysia reap the benefit through financial support and safer transaction avenues. Basically, our role is to support cashless Malaysian and also continue educating the rakyat, ensuring the know-how, we expand the coverage, availability, expanding our services, and involve in any initiative related to digital payment. So this will not be the last initiative. There will be more to come, inshallah, and hopefully we will be there. So we have also at the same time our wallet also expand in terms of financial inclusion. So with that, it's not only limited to payment services. We are also now have a product such as Go Plus insurance, and that would give more benefits and ensuring our users can perform that task through their mobile phone itself.
The Touch and Go e-wallet has a target market audience of those between the ages of 23 to 45 years of age, and so far there's been a 54% claim rate that's come directly from youth as well. Looking on at those merchants on the app, what are some of the most popular products and services that has been purchased by youth using the Touch and Go e-wallet? Perhaps this will also be interesting for those who have not yet claimed their ePEMULA credit and are hoping to get on the wallet as well.
All right. So I break it down into two categories. One is the normal, or what is a popular use by mass of the customer, and also specifically by the ePEMULA itself. So for the mass or the normal customer that use outside for the ePEMULA, basically, generally, the most popular product that we have is the bill payment. So basically, it's take less than 2 minutes for you to perform most of your bill payments. So, example like your TNB bill payments, the telco bill payments, so on and so forth. Then after that, the second products that are famous within our app is that the prepaid top up. So essentially, we have every telco provider in our app available for the customer to use. And of course, our core main product, which is the toll and parking. Also, as you know, with RFID and Pay Direct, it is the customer to pass to the toll. It is customer in terms of the journeys, and with Raya coming, it will significantly help your journey to Kampong as well. So at the same time, with Raya as well, we have a zakat available, which you can pay through online itself or through the app itself. So that is for generally for the main mass customers. But for ePEMULA itself, because of the credit is restricted to physical stores, so we have FMB, we have groceries, we have fuel, clothing, mom pop shop like the warung, the burger stalls. In short, almost everything in the market lah. We are covering for the
It
ePEMULA.
is a one-stop center, a digital one-stop center,
Indeed, indeed.
indeed. We also talk about, as you mentioned, when we move into the endemic phase. Right now, everybody would prefer to have no sort of no contact in that sense. So the Do It Raya as well, that comes into play. What is Touch and Go doing about sort of the Raya Ang Paos?
So essentially, for the Duit Raya itself, it's a promotion that we did. That during this Raya, we are pushing the users or our customers. So instead of you giving a green packet physically, you can use the e-wallet itself to do a P2P transfer. It can be via Duit now. It can be also wallet, to Touch and Go wallet. So that is something that we are really pushing our users for this upcoming Raya to give out the green packet digitally, as compared to the physical the Duit Raya itself. Subsequently, as I mentioned earlier, Zakat also will be able to pay through our wallet itself.
That's right. Times are changing, and obviously we see those results and numbers in the stats that you just shared with us. As we move further as well, I have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the aspect of safety. Previously, there was a lot of talk about safety of online payments and so on and so forth. And obviously, in the past 2 years, it has been a global reset. It has changed the way consumers behave and spend online as well. And so the safety aspect pretty much has been something that people are a bit more comfortable with right now. But perhaps you could share with us a little bit about Touch and Go's safety options here in terms of securing online payments and ensuring that the data and information of users is kept safe.
Okay, so obviously for us at Touch and Go, the safety of customer data and also customer privacy is privacy is our number one priority. So essentially, what we are looking at, we are always and constantly upgrading our system, and we are constantly looking into the option of how we can further enhance our security and also services for our users. One of the example that we have that we introduced first was MBG, which is a money back guarantee. So as long that you are EKYC, you are verified users, any unauthorized transaction, we would cover you. So on top of that, we have also additional services such as we also enhance our services of face verification. In addition, we also introduce our wallet safe product, which would cover any unauthorized and also any dispute in the event if, let's say, there is account takeover, so on and so forth.
Interesting indeed. Now, do you foresee in the near future, perhaps in the next 5 or 10 years, that e-payment platforms will continue to be of interest, and in fact, from that, more of a prerequisite, a requirement already for businesses? And at that point as well, do you believe that the government is doing enough to promote the e-wallet usage in the country?
I think that would be the goal, and whether it is enough right now, I would say it will not. It is not enough in terms of the push. So I think more and more cashless initiative we need to push, especially to create awareness from the late adopters. Not saying about the youth, because the youth definitely they are the early adopters. So that basically has reflected and shown from the claim rate for the ePEMULA itself. Within day one, 70-80% already gone. They already claim it. The one that I would more focus in terms of the mass market, those that above 40s and things and more. So those product, it's not from the government itself. I think the wallets, example like Touch and Go, also is doing a push in terms of creating the awareness, creating um, the strategies how we can ensure that this particular segment are aware on the services, product that e-wallet and the ease that the e-wallet can bring to them.
And what would you say is next for the e-wallet industry or sector, and particularly the offering at Touch and Go? What else can we look forward to?
For Touch and Go itself, definitely it's going to be the more, as I mentioned earlier, it will be more financial inclusion.
Mhm.
So there will be more and more product from financial services going to be introduced. Um, there would be uh, more offering, as you know, that we already also introduced the EV2 card, which is allow customer to reload the cards via Touch and Go app itself. So essentially, the objective and also the goal for the e-wallets is to provide ease and convenience to the users for them to make payment anytime, anywhere, reload anytime, anywhere, and use it anytime, anywhere as they want it.
Right. So back to the to the initiative. Do you feel that at this point there has been enough outreach or enough interest from youth? And if not, then where are some of those gaps and pain points? And what can we do together to ensure that the youth as a whole, over 2 million of them, absolutely benefit from the e-wallet? Because this is also a migration of getting this segment to adopt e-wallet and the technologies that are connected to it.
Yeah, so I think the limiting structure here is not just to the e-wallet itself. Um, for it to be 100% penetrated to the youth and also for the 2 million youth to benefit from this, we also require a full network. As you know that the e-wallet are really highly dependent on the mobile phone network, right?
Right.
So that would be one of the key items. I think in terms of the second point, which is the coverage itself, as I mentioned earlier, though that we are already at most of the rural area, but I think there is still a room in terms of us expanding that coverage so that more and more touch point is available, making those that in rural area and also those that currently still not claiming able to claim those funds and they would be enjoying the benefit of the ePEMULA itself.
That's right. Of course, this is a program and initiative that will benefit around 2 million eligible Malaysians. Its allocation is huge, 300 million ringgit. Each recipient that meets the criteria will be eligible to claim an e-wallet credit of 150 ringgit. And that claim period goes all the way from now up till June 10th of this year. Of course, exciting indeed for all industry players, the government as well, really stretching its limbs to ensure that e-wallets and its adoption reaches every consumers, particularly now with youth having the burden of expenses, and also to encourage cashless spending. Before I let you off into Herman, what would be some of
Yeah.
your parting words to us?
Sorry, again? You're breaking
Before
back.
I let you go, perhaps you could share a little bit about your message to Malaysia and particularly the youth with the take up rate and adoption of e-wallet, the touch and go e-wallet.
So particularly for the ePEMULA segment, those had yet to claim with us, you can do so as soon as possible. Just download our app, then choose ePEMULA, verify your identity, and claim with us. So that would be for ePEMULA segment. And for those not ePEMULA segment, you have a second option, which is you can register as our merchant as simple as you go into our app, visit our merchant dashboard and register there. You can be individual, you can be a registered SSM merchant through there, and it it's very easy for you to become a merchant. So to become our merchant, and I think it's a wasted opportunity if, let's say, you don't become, because of we have about 17 million of users that you can leverage of, and the traffic to be routed. So yeah, I
Wonderful.
think that's about it.
That's right. I mean, it's exciting times indeed. With eWallets really opening up the availability, the e-commerce market space as well allows for that so-called shopping to happen easily, seamlessly by cashless transaction, and of course, what more with now people wanting to have that sense of security without having to compromise on physically being there as well in this very troubling COVID times. But thank you, Encik Muhammad Herman Sarbini, of course, the head of Backend Operation and ePEMULA project lead at Touch and Go eWallet, for sharing some of that information, of course, insights into eWallet usage in Malaysia, and of course, our direction the government has set for us to be a cashless society in the next decade or so. Well, that's all the time we have on The Nation today. I hope you found that conversation fruitful. And of course, if you qualify, if you meet the criteria, go out there and grab the Touch and Go e-wallet and take up the ePEMULA program that gives you 150 ringgit credit. Till I see you again, I'm Jessy Chahal signing out. Take care, be safe. Bye bye.